Hi guys, this is Josie with Cedar Creek Homestead. Welcome back. I thought this evening, well, it's quiet. I know you hear animal sounds, but we don't hear people sounds and we don't hear cars running. I can hear way in the distance, I can hear boats out on the river. And now that I said that, I've heard a vehicle start, but it's quiet. And I thought I'd come out here and just visit with you just a little bit and do a little bit of a garden walkthrough. I don't have my garden totally planted yet, and I'm still working on my flower beds, and I'll get it all done sometime. But anyway, I thought I'd show you some of my fruit orchard and show you the grapes and show you some of the things that bounced back after the freeze that we had. Show you what I do have planted in my garden and all the rains that we've got coming. We've got another week of rain, and I'm not complaining because I know there's people that really could use rain. And if you're in an area of the country that needs rain, well, we're praying for you. And we're going to maybe dodge a few mud puddles to try to get some stuff. Now this garden soil out here, if I get a whole lot of rain, I won't be able to come out here because I just lost my shoe the other day and Papa Tex had to dig it out for me. So we've got some of this planted, and I thought I'd share it with you, and then show you some of the fruit trees and some of the different things, and probably gab your ear off a little bit. So come on guys, let's go for our walk. Well, here is one of the tractor tires, and I've got, I think these are African marigolds planted in this tire, and I got it painted. Remember we discussed colors, and so one of you suggested a darker color in the deeper parts and a lighter color on the treads, and so that's what we did. I went with a sage green in the deeper parts, and then on the treads I used a silvery sage, and I painted that, and I'll swing around and show you the other one too in just a second. But my sister-in-law Nada came out and helped me paint it, and we had a good visit, and you know, just reminisced. And it's good to spend one-on-one time with family members and talk about, you know, memories and your plans and your dreams, and it just kind of helps you to reconnect one-on-one with each other. And so there's that one, and I will kind of slowly move you over to, let me swing past the tree here, and here is the other one, and I'll have to back up a little bit so you can see it. And the some of them are looking really good and taking off and strong. I got a few that's looking a little weepy. And I'll tell you what happened here. Foxy and Sadie were out here with us, and being the farm dogs that they are, they found a dead bird of some kind. And the very first thing that Sadie did was got in this particular tire, and she buried that that bird. And so this tire has had a little bit of action going on in it, and I've had to replant those. And so but I believe that they'll catch on with the other ones, and they'll be just fine. But looking a little bit weeper now. But I wanted to get out here and show you some different things, and I'll kind of walk you around and show you some stuff. If you'll bear with me, I guess we'll consider this a walk around or a tour, garden tour for May, whatever week this is, second week of May. And I'll show you guys what's going on so far. We have a whole week of rain coming in. They're saying that we could get up to 8 inches in some places, and so you know, we're just kind of moving in between rain showers, trying to get these things taken care of. But onward we go. Down through here you'll see some of my fruit trees. I've got apples and peaches, and I think I have pear. I have a small pear tree, and then I have a big pear tree, and I have another Arkansas. I have one Arkansas black that's a couple of years old. It's an apple. It's a storage apple, and they say that it can store up to 8 months. I don't know that that's true, but that's what they say. And of course I'm giving a little nod to my the home of Josie's birth, Arkansas. And so I've got an Arkansas black. I've got another one that needs to be planted, and pardon me guys, I've got grapes and strawberries and blackberries and raspberries and honeyberries and elderberries. I checked on muscadines, and for my particular area of Oklahoma, they say that southern Oklahoma does really good for the muscadines, but we get a little bit too chilly for muscadines. I don't know if any of you that live in my here in Oklahoma, in maybe the area that I live, I think I'm zone 7. Maybe you have experience with muscadines that say that they'll do just fine, but that's from our the extension office from Oklahoma State University. That's what they say, but I was thinking in the future if I was to get a greenhouse kind of like exactly what Deep South Homestead has. Their greenhouses are absolutely beautiful, and if I could do something like that, I thought maybe I could put muscadines in there, and maybe some limes and some oranges and some lemons, because you know Oklahoma don't grow them. But anyway, this is a few of my fruit trees, and I'll give you a closer look at that the pear tree and the grapevines after the frost, what they look like, and we'll mosey on. This is one of the peach trees that I'm standing in front of, and it does not, unless I've overlooked it, I have not one peach this year. And you know, we had that late freeze and I have no peaches, but the tree itself, it's looking good, and it's had a few experiences in its lifetime. It's kind of got knocked around and battered a few times like we have sometimes. And one time, this poor little tree in particular, we had the weaning heifers and steers out in the pasture right behind them, the small pasture, and something spooked them and they stampeded, and I'm gonna tell you, they ran right through that fence. It didn't stop them at all. And Howie had a cross up here that he had Christmas lights on that he lit up at Christmas time and at Easter time, and they knocked it over and they went right through and they broke part of this little tree off. But the tree survived, and we've gotten some yummy peaches off of it, but this year we won't have any peaches. So you always need to make sure that you have plenty of things that you can accommodate for things that, I guess you could say, crop failure, because there won't be any peaches this year. But if you've got other fruit trees and you've got other things that you've made arrangements for, or you canned peaches, then you're good to go. And we have Porter peaches are not too far away in Porter, Oklahoma, and they have a peach barn. There's different peach farms up there, and they have peach festival in the summertime, and you can go up there and get yummy peaches. But like everything else, this year, I'm sure that the peaches will be higher. But they're good quality peaches, and they make good canned peaches and good cobblers and all of the things that we like to eat with peaches. But here on Cedar Creek, we won't be providing any of our own peaches this year. This is our youngest pear tree, and I just happened to walk by here. I didn't really even expect anything off of this little tree for a few years. And our other tree, you've probably heard some of the stories that Howie and I have told you about the poor tree and all of the trauma that it's went through for 3 or 4 or 5 years trying to put out pears, and the blossoms would get blowed off in windstorms and all the other things. The land hurricane that we had, I didn't even know a land hurricane existed, but that's what they say it was. And wasn't really expecting a crop, but this little tree, I walked by and on the way to film what I was really wanting to show you, and I just happened to see these little pears on here. Aren't they cute? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see about 9 pears on this little tree, and so we'll see what happens. This is the Arkansas black apple that I've got planted already, and like I was telling you a while ago, and I have another one that needs to be planted, and I'll get it planted and going. And this one, again, I didn't really expect any fruit. I really don't know that I'll get any fruit this year. Way in the top I see a couple of blossoms, but I've also noticed on this one that I have some spots on these leaves. So I'm gonna have to go in and kind of research what that might be on my tree. And some of you might know, and if you do, share with me, if you don't mind, share with me down there in the comments, and we'll get it taken care of. I'll show you close up here. Please don't pay attention to my nails. I've been all over this place, and I'm sure, you know, I've got a farm girl manicure, so there's probably dirt under my nails. But here's this leaf and these spots, and I don't know if this is something that I need to treat, or it's just, I don't know. You guys tell me. You're the smart ones. Here are some of my pears on this tree, and it is just loaded from top to bottom. So I'm guess this year I'm going to finally get some pears, and I'm excited about that. And we'll have some yummy pears to eat. Well, I'm back here at the grapes, and remember I got a really heavy frost and freeze, and the grapes were looking so good, and they were one of the ones that got the most damage. But some of you told me not to cut them back, that you believe that they would come back out, and they did. They're not filled out as much yet as they were, but they're working on it, and I have little bitty tiny grape clusters on here, and so we're excited about that. So now that they're coming out and they're looking good, I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut off all the damaged stuff and all of the things that clearly is not going to do anything, and see if we can't get this looking better. And there's always hope. There's always a chance for I'm sorry guys, Foxy is not trying to kill Sadie. They're just playing on the other side of the fence, and that's how they play. So if you hear growling, it's okay. We're all safe. It's just those two are playing. Here's a close-up of these grapevines, and you can see these little tiny clusters right there. And they're coming back out. And then right over here you can see where right here, see this damage. So I'm going to take this damage off. But beyond the damage, there's some more damage there. There are signs that things are going to recover. And it goes all along this fence, and they're filling back in. And so they won't be ready till this fall, but I'll keep you updated on what they're looking like, and we'll try to get this all cleaned off, get all of these bits here off of there, and get us a grape harvest. I love to watch them. I love to think about that being a grape cluster. It's just amazing to me. Okay guys, so I'm out here in the garden, and I thought I'd show you around at what we've got done so far. And this will be the first, it's not really the first one, but we'll call it the first official tour of the garden season. And I'll kind of show you the things that we've got out here so far. And I still have lots of things to plant, all that rain coming in. And we're just going to, you know, play it by ear when we can get in the garden. And what we can get in there and get growing, and we'll just have to wait on some things, and that's just the way it is. And so I'll swing the camera around, and I'll kind of show you along some of the things that I've got planted. Walking down through here, you can see that I have my onions. I've got a few that are laying off to the side, but what we do is pull the dirt back from our onions. This is what Howie did, and we continue to do it. And we pull the dirt back. The onion is above, the root is still under, and it gives the onions opportunity to let the bulbs get bigger. And the row goes, we have a big long row of onions. The ones down at the end are some bunching onions, and we'll eat those as green onions. I don't know if any of you do that, but we love in the summertime to go and to pull some of those onions and get them washed up. And what I usually do when I set my table is I, get my onion prepared trim it up just a little bit, take the root off, get the onion nice and clean, and then I just set them in a glass of water on the table, and we enjoy it with beans and cornbread and fried potatoes or whatever. And my sweet little grandma, she loved onions, and I'm gonna tell you, you could always tell that she was the onion lover, because you could always smell the onion, but she loved them, and I get that from her. She had always, not every meal, but most meals, she would have onion, especially in the summertime, on the table. And there was just certain things that everybody had. I don't know if you guys were that way, but Granny had onions on the table. Grandpa usually wanted bread or cornbread, some kind of bread, biscuits at every meal, and so that's what we had. And you know, it stretches your meal a little bit further to have that kind of stuff, you know, beets and pickles and bread and butter and onions and all the different things that kind of can go along with your main food and stretch it. And we all may have to do that before long, just kind of, you know, we get to feeding our families and have to provide more. Here's my cabbage row, and I've got all these little cabbages, and they're looking good, and so far the bugs aren't bothering them. Let me get down on to this one so you can really see it. They're looking good, and starting to go form their little heads, and so we'll be able to have some fried cabbage and some boiled cabbage and some sauerkraut and all the things. And I may try to make some slaw relish, but we'll see what kind of, how far this goes, because this is feeding us and feeding Tex and Terry and some of our other family too. So we'll see. I may have to use sauerkraut to make that relish, and that's just fine. It'll work good. Down behind those are some pepper plants, and we have hot peppers in one spot, and our bell peppers and our sweet banana peppers in another spot. Blade Ryan loves hot peppers, and I want to make sure, I don't mind some spice, but Blade likes the super hot ones, habaneros and all of those, and I just can't take that heat, and neither can my hands in processing them. I set my hands on fire one time working in the peppers, and wore gloves, and still, after processing and making pepper juice, my hands were on fire. And I soaked them in vinegar water, I soaked them in milk, I tried all kinds of stuff, and they burned for days. Terry, she ended up getting a pepper burn on her face, so be careful working your peppers. So I just really don't like having that hot of peppers. I have jalapenos and some cayenne peppers, and I have a habanadas, and then I've planted some that from seed that are coming up. They're just not big enough to go in here yet. And I have some of those feed containers, you know, for my cattle, the mineral tubs. I have a bunch of those, and I may plant some of those new varieties in those tubs, just to, I kind of like to have fun and experiment with those, and I may do that this year. So moving on over from the cabbage, I have a whole row of, well, it just looks like a fence, but I promise you, today we took the time, and I have about 40 feet here. I'll scooch on down here. This is so interesting to you, I know, but this is my cucumber trellis, and what we do is we plant the cucumbers along the bottom here, and they'll grow right up that, and the cucumbers are really easy to pick that way. We've, you know, in some years we planted bush cucumbers, and they are just kind of, you know, you have to dig through down on the ground to find your cucumbers, and if you'll grow them up a trellis like this, they're so easy to pick and to keep up with, and that's what we'll do. And this garden produces the cucumbers. I will be making pickles for long enough that I'll finally say enough's enough, and then we'll take these out and we'll put something, probably beans on here of one kind or another. We plant a bunch of different kind of beans, so the beans will go here after the cucumbers are done. And let's move on here. Down through here, guys, are the tomatoes. And I have 150 tomato plants. And I know you're going to think that's crazy, but we use a lot of tomatoes, and we make a lot of products, and we can a lot of tomatoes, just whole tomatoes and crushed tomatoes and tomato juice, tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, you name it, rotel, we can it. And so we have 150 tomato plants here. We have some cherry tomatoes on the ends. Now these baskets are what Howie made. And so he was with us in spirit, in a way, out here in the garden. And we put these baskets on the tomatoes, and the white tubes, that's PVC. Now, people ask a lot of questions about this and what Howie did. We are out here at the garden, and we can run a hose, but we have to run a long hose. And so what Howie would do, because of time constraints, having to work and having such a big garden, he put these pipes in, and he would he'll run, or he did, and we will run water so these things can all be watered. And we've tried it from the ground, like drip tapes, and these PVC pipe, that's all it is. Different varieties, like that's a huge one. I would have preferred for him to have all uniform sizes, but Howie didn't really care about that kind of stuff. So just so, you know, at least they're all white. But people come through here sometimes and think, what in the world have they got going? But these pipes, they're hollow, of course. And they dig a hole. They take post hole diggers, and they dig a hole and put this pipe in beside the tomatoes. There's a pipe between all the way down through here between two tomatoes. There's a pipe, and so we put rabbit manure in years past, and fertilizer and all the different things that we offer to the tomatoes throughout the year in those pipes, and water in those pipes, and it goes to their roots. It's worked fabulous for us. There's been times where we've gotten between 5 and 10, I kid you not, 5-gallon buckets of tomatoes in a day. And this little garden would produce the tomatoes. And so this year we don't have any rabbits this year, and so we don't have the rabbit manure, but Grandpa, when he was the caretaker of this garden, when Howie was a little baby, Grandpa used alfalfa hay, and so that's what Grandpa's used, alfalfa in these holes. And throughout the season, we'll add different things if they, you know, Epsom salt or different, you know, fertilizer, different things that we need to add. We'll be able to add it, and it'll go right to their roots. And so this is the 150 tomato plants. I don't have all the baskets up yet. I'm still working. I just plumb tuckered out, I'll just be honest with you. So then we have going on around here, if I don't trip over all this stuff. Going on around here at the end, we have these little peppers. Now y'all may be asking why we have these baskets, and this one right here is a good example. We have a basket, and then it's wrapped in chicken wire. Well, the reason we have to do that, and it goes on down through here, the reason we have to do that is we butt this garden. There's a road that runs alongside it. Let me show you without making you sick. Right on the other side of this white fence here is a dirt road. Right on the other side of that is woods. And out of those woods hop all of these little rabbits that try their best to squeeze through. And they do get through, rabbits, and we've had a turtle or two before, and they eat Howie's peppers. And so he put these baskets on the peppers, and he put the chicken wire on it so the rabbits couldn't get to it. So that's why. Now all this ground over here, we haven't planted it yet. It's going to have beans and okra and our melons, cantaloupe and watermelon that Howie got me, and so we still have quite a bit to plant. And then I'll swing you over here. Now I know you guys are looking at dirt. I'm sorry. It's kind of like watching paint dry. But I'm just trying to show you all of this over here. Maybe if I back it up a little bit. There's 3 rows of sweet corn planted here. And we just planted it today. And we may not be able to get back in here starting tonight. The rain's supposed to come in and start. So we may not be able to get back in here for a few days. So we got some things going, and we'll just work at it when we can. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed our little garden tour and a few of the things that I showed you in our orchard, and I've got a lot more to show you, but I've got running out of daylight, I guess, and I'll show that to you on another day. I've got strawberries that need to be picked, and I'll be bringing that strawberry shortcake recipe to you this week, and I think you'll get a little chuckle when you see what I actually do, and I hope you don't think I'm too strange, but I'll be bringing you probably maybe some inside stuff this week, depending on how much rain we get. Like I told you earlier, I think we're expecting about 8 inches. In some areas we may not get 8, but if it does do that, I won't be able to get out here in the garden without you know, sinking down in the mud, and so I don't want to do that, but I want you guys to be able to enjoy what we're doing around here, and enjoy the farm animals and all of the different things that we've got going. We're still waiting on our tractor. It's been 5 weeks since I had to take those parts to Tulsa. Granny and Grandpa went with me. Had to take the parts to Tulsa and get them rebuilt, and then the tractor guy, he said, well, I got the front end off, you might as well, and he gave me a list of things that I needed to replace, and so I got all of those things. So I have a bunch of money tied up in all of that, waiting for that tractor to get fixed, and it's kind of crippled us right now on some of the things, some of the projects that we need to do here. We do have an old Ford tractor that Howie just loved, and it runs, and it'll do some of the work, but it's not as heavy built as that big Josie Ferguson, and so we really need to get that tractor fixed. And so I don't know what's going on. The guy was supposed to come a few weeks ago. He was coming on a Friday, and he called and said, I can't come till Tuesday, and we haven't been able to get a hold of him since then. And we tried to give him a little bit of space so that we didn't upset him, because we're kind of over a barrel on getting this tractor repaired. So anyway, we're working on that, and we've got lots of projects going. I'm sure you guys are busy and have projects going at your place, and looking forward. I can almost taste one of those country meals with fresh tomatoes and cucumbers and onions and cornbread and fried potatoes and I don't know, brown beans or green beans, either one suit me. I can almost taste that. Maybe some fried squash or okra. It's hard in the summertime to decide just exactly what to eat, because you've got all that wonderful produce coming in. And keep working, guys, because you know, I'm looking at the news and I'm listening, and I'm sure all of you guys are, and we need to look well to the ways of our household, and what better way than to garden. I hope you guys enjoyed your visit with me here tonight, and if you liked what you saw and you're not a subscriber, well, know that you're welcome to Cedar Creek, and subscribe and come and visit with us some. And I'm not an expert, and I'm not perfect, and I guess I should say what you see is what you get. I'm new to this. I've been, you know, Howie was the star of the show, and so I'm just following in his footsteps, doing what I can, and just know that you guys are welcome. All of y'all are precious to me. You don't know how you've helped me to make it through this by having something to look forward to, and y'all are sweet people, and I love you, each and every one. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna look well to the ways of our household, and be kind and joyful. Enjoy the life that we have. And until next time, this is Josie with Cedar Creek Homestead, and we're gone.